Hi everybody, I am James the Man's Man and welcome to another fun, exciting episode of The Man's Kitchen. So like I said in my last video where we made the fruit tart, I would next do chicken and waffles. So as you can see over here, I have my dry ingredients already portioned out for the waffles. In the background we have the standard crying baby that a lot of you have to deal with as well when you cook. I'm no different than you are. And here we have the chicken. Now my wife only eats boneless chicken, so I've got some cut up chicken breast here. I've got some real chicken for me. In this bowl I've got buttermilk, and in this bowl I have cornflakes that we ran through the magic bullet. Now this recipe is it's not a fried chicken that I found. What I did was I went online, I looked up, I wasn't sure if the cornflakes should be straight cornflakes or breadcrumb mix, so I did a little bit of research on that. I found this nice little recipe. Basically the chicken goes in the buttercream, then it goes or the buttermilk, then it goes into the cornflakes. It's going to go on here, we're going to bake it. It's a little lighter, a little less grease than if you're going to throw it in a fryer, and we don't have a deep fryer at the house anyways. So we're going to start out, in my other videos you've seen me do flour, egg wash, and breadcrumb. In this one we're just doing butter, milk, and cornflake. So we're going to start out with our chicken. Now I hope I have enough here to do everything, otherwise we'll have to pause the video and run another batch of this through the blender. But basically we're just going to get our... So we're going to get this sprayed. And now we're going to get our chicken through the cornflakes. Now I did work at a restaurant years ago that did something similar to this. And what they did was they did Captain Crunch for their chicken. It was an appetizer, so they called it the Chicken Crunch. And it was, but they did a full breading, so they did flour, egg wash, and then Captain Crunch. And I remember there was always the one thing that stood out in our order because we were a Mexican restaurant, and we'd get a master case of Captain Crunch once a month. So it always stood out as kind of odd. Now when I do these, obviously these chickens are going to cook a little faster than the bone-on stuff, and that's fine because when these are done, we're probably going to eat lunch, and then we're going to come back and finish shooting the video. So now the recipe that I found too, it told me to put a cup of cold buttermilk in a bowl, and then it said to get 4 cups of breadcrumbs. Now I only did half of that. We only blitzed up about 2 cups in here, and I have plenty. So I'm not sure if it meant 4 cups of cornflakes and then turn it into breadcrumbs, or if it meant 4 cups of finished product. It wasn't quite clear with that. So I'm going to wash my hands up and get rid of this off of them before we continue on.
Go.
Okay. Alright, so now we're going to get into our chicken. What did I get here? So basically what we're going to do to break this down, we're going to flip it over, and you can feel pretty much, like you can feel the joints when you move it around. So, and you can also see the fat lines here. Basically we're just going to cut it. Look for that joint. Where is it? Where's that knuckle? If you can't find it, you can always just give it a good snap. And that should expose it. There it is. Okay. Now this is all kind of superfluous skin there. I'm not going to eat that. I'm just going to trim that off. That can go in the trash. And there's another knuckle in here. So we can break this down further, or we can leave it whole like this. You know, I'm going to leave it whole, but I'm going to take the spine off. There's no reason to have that on there. So there. And we got a couple pieces like this. So we're gonna do the same thing on them all. We're just gonna come here with our knife. And we got a nice drumstick. Trim a bit of this off. So when I was watching the episode, and I really liked it, they had a good mix of creativity when the kids were making this dish. One kid, he ended up making tie-dye waffles. I thought that was a little out there, but you know, they are between 8 and 12, so. But I did notice that when they were making it, the one kid decided that he was going to make his own homemade maple syrup. And as a Canadian, that deeply offends me, because this is the land of maple. Or I think if you live in Vermont, you're big on maple there too. So, you know, you're like the prince of maple, because nobody touches Canada when it comes to maple syrup. So now that we have our bowl full, I got a little more chicken in the container, but my bowl's basically full. So I'm going to do a couple of these. So anyways, yeah, he tried to make his own homemade maple syrup, and what he did was he boiled some sugar and water like a simple syrup, and then he added some cinnamon to it for coloring. Joe basically told him, as politely as you can tell a child, that that was the dumbest thing he could have done. Because maple sugar is one of the most highly sought after sugars, he says. And if you're gonna take the time to replace an ingredient that you're given like that with something you're gonna make from scratch, your from scratch has to be better. Now, could he have augmented the maple syrup? Yeah, he could have done something to the maple syrup. He didn't have to put straight maple syrup on the waffles. He could have done something to the maple syrup to make it better. But to make a homemade version and just say, hey, my homemade stuff's better, that's just something that, you know what, though, he's a kid, so it's not that bad. Basically, my tray is almost full anyways. I wonder if I'm gonna be able to fit the rest of it on. I don't think I am. I think this is basically what we're gonna make here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wash my hands up again. I'm gonna spray the tops of these with my artificial butter spray, and then we're gonna salt and pepper them and throw them in the oven. So give me 1 second, I'll be right back. Okay, so I got these ready to go in the oven. What we're gonna do, I'm just gonna spray some canola oil on them. I don't know if it's gonna do anything or not, but usually at the restaurant when we bake like this, we pour some oil on it, and it just helps it crispen just a little bit. We're gonna put some salt and pepper on this. Didn't get any speck right there. So again, I mean, when they do these on the show, they got like an hour, sometimes 2 hours on their eliminations. When I do this at home, I have as much time as I want. So I'm able to find different recipes, better recipes. Because the more time you can take on something, usually the better it's going to taste. So now that we got these salt and peppered, obviously these are going to be done quicker than those. So I'm going to put these in the oven. I have it set at convection bake 350. We're going to fire these in, and when I pull these out, you won't see them all because we're going to eat half of these for lunch while we wait for the rest to bake. Alright, so we're going to move on to the waffle component of this dish. So we're going to put our wet ingredients together in this bowl. So we have our buttermilk, 1 cup, eggs times 2, and an undisclosed amount of sugar. You can read the description. There will be a link to this recipe in there. I think that was a ½ a cup of sugar. Yeah, it might have been a ½ a cup. So we're going to get our wet ingredients all mixed up here. Okay, now we're going to put our dry ingredients in this bowl. We got our flour, which was a cup, cornmeal, which was a cup and a half, baking soda, and baking powder, and salt. There. Now we have all of our ingredients in there. I'm going to give this a good mix. We'll toss up, get the spatula in here. Okay, now that we have this mixed up, and you can see that you can see it's all color, like you can see the white of the flour, you can see the yellow of the cornmeal. So now all it said was pour the wet on top. Mix it up with the spatula. And it told me to preheat my waffle iron to 200 degrees. Does your waffle iron have degrees, or does it have 1 through 6 like mine? So I put it on 3. When it was ready and beeped, I put a thermometer in there and it was about 300 degrees. So I dialed it back to 2, and I hope that works for me. Now you can see I have this nice, thick, oh wow, look at all that in there. So let's keep stirring this up. Okay. So the nice thing with this is that we have we have baking soda and baking powder, so it's gonna get its leavening from those. Which basically means, like say we were doing a cake, you wouldn't want to fold it this much if you're doing a cake, because you're getting your leavening from all your air pockets and air bubbles from when you whipped up your egg. That isn't the case here. We have baking soda and baking powder, which is a chemical leavener. So I got my scooper, and I got my butter flavored canola oil, which I might need a second one. I think I have 2 of these. No, I had 2 of these till I used it all. So, I guess we're gonna open up our waffle iron. I guess we're gonna come around and show the waffle iron. I'm gonna give this a quick spray. And we're gonna load her up. Yeah, look at that going there. To be honest, I don't make waffles too much. I have no clue if that's too much, the right amount, or not even close. But we're gonna close it up and see what happens.
Okay, you're recording.
Okay. So that was way too much. Camera wife Heather wasn't happy with me, and we were wiping all kinds of batter off while we were going. So we're gonna pull this out. Put that with a spatula. So we got 1 waffle, 2 waffle, and a little bit here on the side. Turn off the waffle maker. So now we got a couple options for presentation here. So what I was thinking we could do is kind of like a New York fries kind of thing, right? We could drop a couple waffles in here. We could grab those chicken fingers, drop them in here too. I mean, you know, maybe make the, play around with that. Maybe take a 3rd one. So you got chicken and waffles in a cup. Drizzle some syrup on those if you want. But if you're gonna really eat chicken and waffles, you're gonna put your waffles on your plate, stack your chicken on there, and we've got. So we didn't check the chicken yet. I mean, I checked the chicken when you guys weren't watching, but let's take a bite out of this chicken and see if it's any good. It's nice and crunchy on the outside. I really shouldn't talk with my mouth full, but it's very crunchy on the outside. Now, I'm not a particular fan of the cornflake breading. I'm going to try it again, but I'm going to try cutting it with some regular breadcrumbs, because to me, it's just a little on the sweet side, but I really like it. And the chicken stayed nice and moist on the inside, and that buttermilk, it's a good addition to this. But let's try these cornbread waffles. That's good. It's a lot. It's hard to describe because we vacation in Florida every year for a week and a half or so. So I know I'm the ultimate northerner because I'm a Canadian. But when we go down to Florida, there's a lot of cornbread, and the cornbread muffins there are amazing. And I'm telling you that this cornbread waffle, it's good. It's a really good combination. All right, well, so this is chicken and waffles. I'll see you next week after we do the next week's elimination episode. And if you like this video, please hit subscribe and like. Thank you and have a good day.